Jacoby, I know you're from South Florida. How much was going home a factor for you in signing with the Dolphins?
It was a great opportunity to be close to home, to be close to my friends and family, who I haven't been able to play in front of and be around as much. When this opportunity presented itself, it was like I said, it was a great opportunity just to, from a home team, like family aspect, to be around friends and family, especially in this business. That's kind of what you got to keep close to you at times. So it's definitely going to be new for me. It's my first time ever playing this close, besides when I was at Florida. But it'll be interesting. So I'm excited for it.
You already getting ticket requests, man? Because when you're home, you're close to home, you're going to be hearing it. Hey, can you get me in? Hey, what can you do for me?
No question. Soon as the news broke, I got texts and calls from so many unknown numbers in my phone that I couldn't even. The list will still be short. That's for sure.
You're gonna have cousins and family members that you didn't even know you had.
Yeah, exactly. Coming from
All that stuff.
everywhere.
Well, Jacoby, you've been a starter, you've been a backup. The Dolphins, obviously, they have Tua. What are your expectations going in? And did you have any opportunity, maybe go somewhere else, get a chance to compete for a starting job?
For sure. That was my deciding factor, was the opportunity to compete no matter where I went. I have no expectations. I'm going in there just to go out there and compete, play my best, get better every day, hold myself to our starter caliber player in this league, no matter the situation. And I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to the challenge. Looking forward to the opportunity to grow. It's going into year 6 for me, so another year under my belt. 5 years of experience in this league, so I'm looking forward to it.
Man, your first year in a league, you get a chance to start right away in September for the New England Patriots. You win a Super Bowl. What was that experience like for you coming in to a team like that with all of the success that they had? And what did you learn from playing with a guy like Tom Brady?
I think it was great. I mean, it was coming into the league, and that's your first experience of what NFL football looks like. Now, let alone winning a Super Bowl, is that's kind of what you hold the standard to. And Tom set the standard every day in practice, a lot along with a lot of other guys, and you saw how it all meshed together. So I mean, for me to come into the league, and that's my first experience as a young player, as a young quarterback in this league, playing with the greatest quarterback of all time. It's monumental experience and learning that I'll never forget.
You had a really nice season with Frank Reich a couple of years ago in Indianapolis, put up some good numbers. What was it like playing for him in that offense?
It was great. I got to, obviously live out my dream and start. But it was great. Got to learn a lot about the game. He did an unbelievable job, him and the staff of game planning, putting us in good situations and things of that nature. He's a great coach. Somebody that I still consider a friend no matter the circumstances. But it was a great time there.
Your offensive coordinator the past 3 years was Nick Sirianni, who's now the new head coach in Philadelphia. I've talked to him a couple times, and my man's got a ton of energy. What kind of coach do you think he can be as a head coach?
Just what you said. I mean, when you talk to Nick and you start talking football, you kind of see his personality, you see who he is. Man, unbelievable dude. Somebody that I talk to on a regular. Whenever we get a chance to talk, he knows football. He loves football. A guy that's gonna be prepared for everything. One thing about Nick, he thinks of every situation possible. I think that's what kind of what will set him apart from a lot of these coaches, because I'm sure he's going to call the plays there. And, I'm excited to see how it goes. We've always talked about him getting that opportunity to be a head coach, and how it would go. And like I said, I'm excited. I think he's going to be one of the good ones in this league.
What do you think he could do for a guy like Jalen Hurts, a guy who's a dual threat, can do a lot of things with his legs, and obviously he's still learning, he's still young.
Yeah, and I think the best thing about it, Nick's gonna teach him. Nick's a great teacher. He knows how to, how do I say it? He understands players. He knows how to get his information through to the player so that the player understands it. So I think that'll be probably the best thing for Jalen and any quarterback that's playing with him.
What about Carson Wentz going to Indy playing for Frank Reich? Obviously, you have a lot of respect for Frank. How do you think Carson can fare going there after a tough season that he had?
I think they've had a relationship. They have chemistry. So, I'm sure they'll probably just build off the chemistry that they had and rely on that. So, we'll see.
I know off the field, Jacoby, you're a guy who is heavily invested into the community. You were nominated for Walter Payton Man of the Year award, which is a tremendous honor. Guys tell me often how that to them is more important than even some of the individual accolades that they get for on the field. What inspires you, man, to give back?
I'm from those communities that needed help growing up. When people would come back, I saw how impactful that was, not only for me but for my community. And still being around my community, you want to have those, you want to give back those things that were given to you. So that's just like my primary reason why, with no reservation of any accolades or award nominations or anything, but I just want to give back because people gave back to me and I saw how impactful that was. So I try to do the same.
What were some of those obstacles you had to overcome to get to where you are in the
NFL? We didn't grow up with much. We didn't have all the resources that people probably 5 minutes away that did. But we had community. We had each other. I grew up in a household with two older brothers and a younger sister, my mom, and but everybody on the street, we all hung out with each other. We all played. We all were outside. We were all on the same teams, and some of those relationships I still carry to this day. So those are the things that I hope and I wish that me and my team, of people in the community down here give back to the community that they have, so that the younger generation have those same opportunities to build those relationships.
I know you have a long way to go in your career. You're still a young football player, but you're already preparing for life after the NFL. You've become an investor in Broad Street Ventures, which is a venture capital fund co-founded by Malcolm Jenkins. I spoke to him about it and a couple other players who've invested. What motivated you, Jacoby, to get involved?
It's always been, it's always been, not a mindset, but like a part of my plan as far as is everybody wants to create generational wealth. Everybody wants to make money, all these things. But I think the one thing, what really like sold me into this opportunity was Devin McCourty and Deron Harmon. Two dudes that are like my older brothers, two guys that I respect. I talk to on a daily basis, two guys that I just hope I can grow up to be half the men that they are. They kind of, give me the game on everything. We talk about things that are uncomfortable to talk about in the locker room together. And I look up to those guys, and they brought this opportunity to me. It was not like they came to me and told me just to do it because they were doing it. They came to me with the information for me to base my decision off of the information and not them. And I was on several Zoom calls with Rolanda and the team, and away from that, talking to Devin McCourty and Deron Harmon, and talking to other people away from the venture that specific venture capital group, and just learning what venture capital was and learning what these things were, because I've always been intrigued about how, these companies come to form. You see the companies that are just like, dang, that company just didn't pop out of the sky. It's been a work in progress. So, and then just listening to the calls, and it's an all Black group, and that was very important to me, and it was worth a shot, and worth the opportunity to learn from.
Well, it's great to see guys like you and other players just really setting themselves up for life after the NFL, because we had a very tragic event involving former NFL player Phillip Adams, and when I spoke to him, when I spoke to people close to him, including his agent, they said that he just didn't adjust well to life after football. So how important is it for you guys at your age, even when you're years away, to make sure you're set up, not just financially, but able to deal with, I guess, the mental aspect of no longer playing in the league?
I think that part, what you just said, that last part was the most important part, is the mental part. And it's not when we get out of the league that we start to think about our mental aspect. It's while we're in the league. You know, and I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have a therapist, but you know, a lot of us grow up with so much trauma that we don't even understand. We don't even realize the stuff that has why we are who we are. You know, good, bad, and indifferent. But having those opportunities to you know, to break down those barriers that we have in our mind, and I think that's very important. It's scary, honestly. You know, you grow up and you're like, this. I got to this point, so I must have done everything right. When there's things that we could have avoided, things that we could have done better at to set us up after our respective sport, and being able to, you know, not easily transition, because it's never an easy transition when you do something your whole life and you have to, you know, you have to stop and do something else. But having the correct mental space to be able to adjust and to be able to find different avenues to fill those voids, you know, I think that's very important. These things, I mean, the venture capital stuff, and I think more than the financial aspect, the relationship aspect, to form those relationships with guys like Devin and Deron, and to be able to just lean on for conversations. And that's all this group is going to turn into, a bunch of people that we just gain relationships from.
Jacoby, why do you think it's kind of been taboo in the NFL for players to talk to each other about their money?
Because it's scary. You know, I mean, it's uncomfortable for somebody to, like, you know, quote unquote, like what we say is like watching other people's pockets. You know, a lot of us grow up in these communities where you don't want anybody to know how much money you have. I mean, we grew up, well, we're in the NFL, so all of our money's online anyways. You can easily Google and whatever, anybody's contract. But you know, and then you people get in the NFL and they see everybody with this and that and cars and jewelry and houses and whatever it is, and they're like, dang, I wonder how much they spend on this, or what they do to get this, or, you know. And it's I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, none of our business. But to be able to have those vulnerable conversations and ask for help. I mean, you know, I grew up where I would never see this amount of money in my life, so how can I expect to know what to do with it? So me knowing that, I kind of leaned on Devin and Deron, like, because I knew they've had, I mean, obviously more money than me, that I could lean on them and say, hey, how did y'all navigate this? How did y'all go about this? Just because I didn't want to be in a situation where, you know, A, I was broke when I'm done playing, and B, I didn't want to just, oh, I don't even know how to write a check, or you know. So it's things like that aren't taught in school, honestly. I mean, especially the athletes in school, you kind of just do whatever it is to be eligible, quite frankly. But, you know, I think these conversations that we have with players in the locker room, and like I said, my two guys that I lean on are, you know, I mean, those are the conversations I want to have anyways. I don't want to talk about anything else besides football. So I kind of separate myself that way.
Some guys tell me that they feel there are players who are ashamed or embarrassed when their career's over to seek help, to reach out for help, even though there's a lot of avenues out there, a lot of programs for former players, for athletes. How do you break down those? I know we've been talking about this for a couple of years now in the world, in the league, in the sports industry, of breaking down those walls, tearing down those walls where, like, you know, you got to suck it up and tough it out if you're a man. How do we continue to do that?
I think it's just being comfortable with yourself. You know, it's not like everybody's saying like, hey, don't spend any money or to be in a shell and stuff like that. Is to be able to be comfortable with yourself, to seek help. And I think that stems from, you know, the relationships that you gain in this league. You know, it'll be a waste to go through go through this league, and when you're done, you're like, damn, what do I have to do like to save money, or what do I have to do to make money, or things of that nature. So I think like just leaning on relationships while you're in it. I heard something the other day that the best thing that you can leverage right now is not your money, is that you're in the NFL and people want to work with people in the NFL. So why not just use that to make, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think, I think that's the biggest thing people have to do is just find a way to be comfortable being vulnerable with other men, to be honest with you.
How do you differentiate? Because there's got to be a lot of people coming after you. Hey, with an offer to do this, or you never know who wants your money or where to invest it or where to put it. So how do you determine what's the right fit for you?
Time. If you don't if you don't spend it, you don't give it to anybody, you still have it and they still want it. So time is still on your side. They're always gonna want money, and you're always gonna make sure your money's right. So you might as well take the time to vet people and cross reference. I mean, I trust me, when I got into this venture capital group, I called Rolanda a couple of times, sent her texts, and I talked to Devin and Duran, and it took me a while to even invest. I just remember texting in our group chat. I was like, hey, I'm gonna do the investment this month. And then I saw an article about somebody just getting robbed, and I was like, oh, I can't do it right now. But it's just time that to make me comfortable, because at the end of the day, if the group passed on me, they passed on me, and hopefully another opportunity would have presented itself. But I wouldn't have felt bad because I knew for myself I was in no rush.
Jacoby, the NFL's look different, obviously, because of COVID, and things have changed. A lot of stuff done virtually. There's been some talk and some conversation that I've had with people at the league who want to change how the combine is, and how the combine was the last event last year, and this year everything was pro days. Did you feel when you went through one? Were you at the combine?
Yeah, I did go.
What did you think of that experience at the combine? Did you think it was too, I guess in a way, like, guys poking, prodding at you, trying to get, was it too over the top?
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of the combine. It's like I think it's very unnecessary. You're going to do the same thing on pro day, so you might as well do it somewhere. It helps some players for sure, but I mean, if you have the opportunity to, I get it. It's they try to sell it on this a kid's dream to go to the NFL combine. The dream is to be in the NFL, not to go to the combine. It's so many players that get invited to the combine that don't even get drafted or get picked up. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's very overrated. Hence why they're trying to incentivize with fans and things like that to bring more attention to it, because they know that the players are tired of it. So I think that's another way to kind of, boost the fans up and boost people's quote unquote brand up, to be able to like, hey, like you saw me at the combine, stuff like that. But it's becoming a spectacle now. I don't even think coaches like going to it, to be honest with you.
Jacoby, man, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Very insightful, and wish you a ton of success in everything that you do, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.